Another double rates banner is on its way, but should you summon? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we are taking a look at the LR Omega Shenron and his banner, and taking a look at whether or not you should summon on this banner. As always, to figure out whether or not we should summon, we are going to take a look at the unit itself. We're going to take a look at the units on the banner, and then we'll take a look at what lies ahead and make our determination on whether or not we should summon on this banner. Now, Global has found itself in a very strange situation in that this is our second double rates banner within the span of a month. Unfortunately, simply due to the fact that our schedule has been really weird. Having to have Omega Shenron be moved out of the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku campaign really messed things up. Either way, it's here, so let's go ahead, let's jump on in. Let's take a look at the unit first. So as always, we like to check out the unit, make sure everything is good, and determine whether or not that unit itself is worthy of the summon. So he is GT Bosses, category key 3, HP attack defense 200%. He is a Carnival LR after all. He activates an entrance animation upon the character's entry once only. He changes int key spheres to rainbow key spheres for 7 turns. He gives all enemies attack defense 25% minus, and key 3 attack and 200% to himself. He also has an additional 20% attack with each attack performed, up to 150%, which means he can get incredibly strong. He also has key 1 and damage reduction by 5% per GT Bosses category ally on the team, meaning he can have up to 30% damage reduction if you are running a full GT Bosses. He also has an additional damage reduction 7% per rainbow key sphere obtained. So I think you can collect up to 4 rainbow key spheres at a time. So 7 times 4, you can get up to 28 damage reduction with 4 rainbow key spheres obtained, plus the 30, right? You're looking at about 58% damage reduction if all goes well. So not too bad. I think it's possible to get a 5th. I very rarely gotten it. More often than not, you'll be averaging about 4. If you get the 5th, I think he goes up to 63% damage reduction, if my math is right there, something like that, or 64 actually. Yeah, but so pretty good, you know, all things considered. If HP is 50% or less at the start of the character's attacking turn, he revives with 70% HP recovered when the character or ally in the turn is KO'd. Once he revives, he is effective against all types and launches an additional super attack from the turn in which he activates that revival. He does have an active skill that can be activated when the enemy is in attack down or defense down, or from the 6th turn from the start of battle. It will greatly raise the attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage while lowering the attack defense of the enemy by 30% for 1 turn. It also has the action cancel ability. On his 12 key super attack, he is raising defense for 1 turn, causing colossal damage and lowering attack. On his 18 key, he's greatly raising defense, causing mega colossal damage and lowering the attack, as well as sealing the enemy. So all in all, like on paper, he looks like a really good LR, right? But minus that 30% damage reduction puts him in a really weird spot, right? If you were to get all 4 to 5 rainbow key spheres consistently with him off of a GT Bosses team, he's looking alright post-super. Where things begin to get scary for him is pre-super. But even then, right, with pre-super, we're talking slot 1 or in a fight where there's AOEs, right? That can end up being an issue for him. Though, to be fair, you know, a GT Bosses team on a is going to struggle even if he had his full damage reduction up. So it's kind of a moot point to kind of really use that against him, because the only fight where that would really matter, that team is going to fail in anyways, because the rest of the cards just aren't good enough to take that fight on, right? We're talking specifically about the LR Omega fight and the Corrupted Merge Moss fight, right? GT Boss is going to struggle in that anyways, with or without this guy's damage reduction. So it's kind of a moot point there. So all in all, I mean, on paper, he looks like a really good card, and if the GT Bosses team were better than it currently is right now, he'd be looking a lot better, right? Just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, right? If we just go to the GT Bosses right here, like, this is what we've got to work with. Before Sin, the best card we had for GT Bosses is probably this guy, and I mean, I would honestly, just because of what he can do, would put him on a better level than 17 and 17. Although 17 and 17 are fun, but you know, when they get to the 17 Super 17 phase, that's when they get good. But dealing with them here is can be an issue, right? So I mean, realistically, he doesn't have much to work with. I mean, he's gotten a little bit better. These two are actually kind of good post EZA on the team. You know, struggling a bit in Dismal Future, but they did release at a time before that. Baby is all right with the LR Baby. LR Baby's actually really, really good, but we won't have his EZA until later next week. So GT Bosses is in a really rough spot at the moment. It still needs a lot more work before it can become a fully competitive team. And knowing that, you know, it's hard to give my recommendation for the unit. The unit in of itself is pretty good, but without those teams to help him out, he's, you know, he himself is really going to be struggling because he's missing that heavy part of his passive, the 5% per GT Bosses. So unfortunately, this one gets a no for the unit, simply on the fact that unfortunately the team is dead. Now let's go ahead, let's look at the banner, because we are talking about a double rates banner after all. So this was the banner that introduced Omega on JP. It had the previous Christmas double rates card, the Trunks and Gohan, and then it had the one just the year prior, the STR Carnival Goku. Now this banner stands to look a lot different on Global than it did on JP, right? So, I mean, all the GT Bosses characters will still be the same, but these two, I think, is where things are going to diverge wildly. After all, we did get a recent shared Carnival LR celebration on Global and JP for these guys here, the LR Super Saiyan Trio, and on JP this banner had Omega and STR Carnival Goku. However, on Global this banner ended up having the trio Boo and STR Carnival Goku, meaning I think there's a very low chance that this banner actually would return STR Carnival Goku, right? I think there's two paths they could take. So either A, this will have the previous Christmas double rates LR and STR Carnival Goku. So that means this Omega's banner on Global will have STR Carnival Goku and Int merge Samas. I could see that happening. That is the worst timeline, honestly, because it basically devalues the entire banner. Carnival Goku just was on the double rates banner last month, and you know, not that he's not good, not that he's not fun, but he's not someone you should be going out of your way to chase anymore at this point. So that would be worst outcome. However, there is another outcome. After all, it has been almost 9 months now, right, since the 8th anniversary on Global Dokkan, and during Worldwide Celebration, JP Dokkan returned their Part 2 LRs. That is the Kai Goku and Int Kid Gohan, right? So within 7 months, they got that LR on JP Dokkan, which is usually the case for the Part 2 LRs. When it comes to the worldwide celebration. So, I mean, it makes sense. So, the only logical thing that could happen next, otherwise, Global is waiting until the 9th anniversary to grab these guys again, and I could see them putting them on the banner here with Omega Shenron, replacing Gohan and STR Carnival Goku, right? Which would mean they would be buyable with coins. Now, if they do go that path and return at least one of them, that highly increases the value of this banner simply for the luxury of these units, because they have returned so few, far less frequently than other Carnival LRs. If Kai Goku and Kid Gohan end up on the banner, I would say that makes the banner pretty valuable, and I would give it a summon. I wouldn't say go deep, but, you know, a couple multis couldn't hurt, especially if you're somebody who missed out on any of those cards, or you skipped part 2 of the anniversary. This would be your chance to pick them up. So I want to say no for the unit, but maybe for the banner, depending on how they adjust it to accommodate Global's schedule. Now, they could do something really crazy and throw the LR Super Saiyan Trio on here. That's less likely, but I have heard people mentioning that as a possibility. I don't think it'll happen, but it's never say never. All right. Now, moving on. If we choose to summon, what are we giving up in the future? Well, in the month of February, first up, we are likely to have one of 2 EZAs, and I think, or not EZAs, but banners, and I think this one is the more likely outcome. It'll either be these guys or the Kid Gohan, but these guys make the most sense because they do have a part 2 LR, and we usually get a part 2 celebration in Global during February. So they will have the Tournament of Power Androids for the month of February. If you summon on Omega, this is what you're giving up. Honestly, it's not a bad banner. You have the androids who, if Tournament of Power ends up being the theme for the 9th anniversary, these guys would be a great addition to it. You also have Kid Goku, Kale, God Goku, all great units, and would be worthy of your pickup if you decided to summon in February. So just know that if you do summon on Global's double rates, might be what you are giving up. Otherwise, following them in the part 2 celebration, we will have the LR Ribrianne. Now, the thing about this banner, I mean, it's not, yellow coin banners are always iffy on their value, but this one will have STR Bulma, and on top of that, it will be a pity coin banner, meaning for 1,000 pity coin, or 200 pity coins, I think it was, you will be able to trade in for a copy of LR Ribrianne. I think the exchange rate ended up being something about 1,000 stones, I think ended up being the exchange rate. So, you know, it could be worth it. I mean, Ribrianne is good. She does a lot of funky stuff with her orb changing. She also has a giant form, which is always useful. But the banner also has LR Bulma, which is an incredibly valuable card. So there is value in this banner if you're someone who missed out on her, if you didn't pick her up on the New Year's Step Up, or you didn't pick her up last year during Golden Week, or when she was featured on the Worldwide banner. So worthy of note, but I mean, I don't think it's that valuable of a banner otherwise. Following them, you have the Gohan and Piccolo banner. This will be the early Saiyan Day banner. This will be from the 1st of March to the just before the 18th. It'll have Gohan and Piccolo, Turles, Ginyu, Yamcha, Raditz, and Bardock. And now, while Bardock, Ginyu, and Raditz leave a lot to be desired nowadays, it does have Yamcha and Turles, who are both really good in my opinion. Their banner unit, the Vegeta and Nappa, are also really, really good. Gohan and Piccolo themselves being one of the top TURs in the game. So this is a very valuable banner. However, it does come right before Saiyan Day. So that's a big choice you got to make if you decide to summon on these guys. I know I will because I really want the Gohan and Piccolo. And also, I, could go for a dupe of Turles. But just know that if you do summon on this Omega banner, that is what you are giving up. This pre-Saiyan Day banner. Speaking of Saiyan Day, right? If we are to follow last year's trend, we will be getting another Saiyan Day banner on March 18th, and it will introduce a new TUR and his banner unit, along with returning the Tanabata LR. So this year, this will be the Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Goku, and then other various Saiyan Day units will return. So God Goku will be on the banner, probably Majin and Vegeta, and then other units that are variations on the theme. Like, I think these guys are here just because they're pure Saiyans, right? Well, Bardock was a Saiyan Day unit, so Could be same with Broly, right? They were Saiyan units, so you'll have other Saiyan units and then something related to the theme of whatever the celebration ends up being here. So I mean, if you're somebody who missed out on God Goku or Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Goku, this may be the banner for you. So just know that if you summon on Omega, that is what you are giving up. Following them for the month of April, the last known banner on Global, or on JP, coming to Global, will be the Interudagarn and the SSJ3 Goku. These two banners will return Piccolo Jr., the World Tournament units, and World Tournament Goku, as well as Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo. So, I mean, if you were missing these guys, they are definitely a good chance to pick them up. However, more than likely, all of these guys will return on Worldwide Celebration, which is just 1 month after the anniversary. So there's not a whole lot of value in these two banners, simply because of their placement so close to the anniversary, and so close to Golden Week, mind you, that they're likely to see, a lot of the units on here are likely to see a return just a few months later on the Worldwide Celebration. But that is to say that these two units are incredibly powerful, arguably top 1 and 2 TURs right now, next to the likes of World Tournament Goku, God Goku, and Int Piccolo Jr. So, it's not like the units aren't going to be worth your summon. It just know that they come at an odd time. Now, unfortunately, after this, we have no idea what's going to happen next. The next banner after this will be the Golden Week units, which we're not going to know until that happens, and then the June Dokkan Festival, which will be the post-anniversary Dokkan Festival on JP. And then, obviously, in July, we will have whatever the 9th anniversary and units end up being. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot coming up that's, a necessary must summon. So 1 or 2 summons on a double rate isn't going to hurt you. So I'm going to tier my recommendation for the banners, knowing what lies ahead. If you are on that path to anniversary savings and you have greater than 1,000 stones, I would say you could probably do about 250 to 300 stones on this banner. You will make that up more than enough in the month of February, as well as the rest of the stones to come to this month. So I would say do no more than that. On an LR banner, 250 stones is usually a good sign. If you don't pick up anything within that, that is a good rate, right? 1 in 250 is usually the average rate. So if you don't pick up anything in that, that's a good sign to stop. If you are 800 or to 500 stones, again, I would say maybe do 3 rotations, maybe 200 stones at most, but other than that, steer clear of the banner. After that, if you were anything below 500 stone, my friend, you should be on the path to anniversary savings. I'll have a full breakdown once we know what the 9th anniversary units are, going over how many stones you can expect between now and the 9th anniversary. But with 500 stones, consider you may want to be continue saving. Last year we had close to 1,500 stones between the beginning of January all the way up to July. So if you're 500 stones, that's 1,000 more stones on your way. You may want to consider saving that for when the time comes. So I would keep my recommendation tiered. If you're 1,000 or greater, go with maybe 200 to 250, maybe 300. If you're 500 to 800, do no more than 200. If you're anything below that, just save your stones. Now, if you are a free-to-play, low-to-play player, there are tickets available here, double rates tickets, so could be something worthy of your money. You can spend it, grab the tickets, and use those instead of wasting your stones. Up to you. Me personally, I don't think I'm grabbing tickets, nor do I think I'm doing stones. I think I'm just going to skip this banner outright. After the horrendous shaft we suffered on the SSJ Cheerio, as well as a few other banners, I want to be happy walking out of the month of January with the W, with the dupes of my Super Trunks. So I'm just going to probably skip this banner. We might do one multi or 2 or something on stream if things are going well. We'll see how it goes. But otherwise, we're skipping and just hopping straight into some fun content against the LR Omega boss. So anyways, guys, that is it for the video. That is it for our recommendation recommendation on whether or not you should summon for LRO Mega Shenron. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know, are you going to summon on this double rates banner, or are you saving? And while we're at it, let me know, how many stones do you have here as we approach the end of the month of January? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.